the extended family that we have being in this business. So I wanted to start with this slide. I think it's appropriate for today. It's if I can get it to click. There we go. So anyway, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, and hopefully you I didn't get to see mine because my mom passed away, but hopefully everybody got a chance to visit with theirs. And if not, you had the opportunity to think about mom and say a prayer. And anyway, it's a great day. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. I want to share something with you. And one of the things I'm going to talk about tonight is how important it is in this business to be available to perform or do something on short notice or no notice. And what you're seeing here is the training facility that our team has in the Netherlands, okay, in Amsterdam. It's Ton and Schalke's. And about a week ago, maybe probably about 8 or 9 days ago, um, we got a call from Tyler Daniels, and Tyler was heading over to Europe to help open Portugal and then to do an activation meeting in Spain. I think it's Madrid, I'm not sure, but in Spain. And he said, "Hey, we're landing in Amsterdam. Do you think your team would like to get together and I could meet with them and we haven't seen them in years and fill them in on everything that's new at LifeVantage?" And I said, "Well, I can't speak for them, but I don't know why that wouldn't get them super excited." And anyway, Tyler and Tasha on Thursday night spent a few hours with them, just updating them. And it was on short notice. And, everybody's got businesses, everybody's got jobs. And it also happens to be holiday time over in Europe. So a lot of them were away on vacation. But, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and April will talk a little bit more about some things that are also going on locally here, but sometimes something really, really great can happen if everyone's willing to kind of drop what's going on and do something on short notice. And I was very, very thankful. I was talking to Tyler the next day, and I think he enjoyed it more than the group did. He was just gushing over it. And, for those of you who don't know, when April and I first joined, that group was part of, our team that got started in LifeVantage. And we went over there a few weeks after joining, and Tyler and Tasha went over and actually lived in Amsterdam for a month and was doing meetings in their office all during that month. So they got to know our Dutch and Belgium team. They got to know them very well. So they had a chance to get reacquainted. But anyway, let me get right into it. So May obviously is off and running now. We got 3 weeks left in the month. It's a long month, 31 days. Today's the 10th, so we got 3 full weeks, and it's just time to roll. Okay, it's just time, to get going. The weather's good, everything's great. And as you know, and this is just a reminder, Power Hour every Monday afternoon at 4 Eastern, okay, whatever that time zone is that you are in, but 4 o'clock Eastern. And I mentioned the last minute thing, but and I'm going to ask April to comment here. I just want to say thank you and congratulations to Jackie Gagliano and her business associate Gigi. Most of you know who they are. They've traveled on trips. Jackie is just like family to us, and they're members of our church. But they had a meeting at Jackie's home. Jackie hosted on Friday night in Lake Mary, which is where we live. And April, do you mind just kind of sharing? I know I got to babysit Riley outside, but you ladies look like you had just a really good time inside.
Yeah, it was quite a great meeting. Both Gigi and Jackie did an amazing job of getting lots of people there. Some we had seen before, some new ones, getting them back in the fold. And I kind of feel like Jackie should be talking about this because it really was,
Well, she's
her
there. Ask her
efforts.
to, but ask her
Yeah, her
to chime
efforts,
in.
Gigi's efforts, I just went and did the meeting. I can tell you there was a storm that erupted during the meeting and we had no idea it had even rained until we walked back out. So we were that busy. We had to call Bobby in to sign some people up. But Jackie, do you want to say a few words, or because you and Gigi were amazing? You're muted. I know we put her on the spot.
That's okay. On the spot is good.
Let me see if I can. There she is.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, no, it was really great. I invited over 20 people. Um, I guess we had about 12 women show up.
Yeah.
Gigi has a lot of new people because she's just really started, and a lot of women were complimenting on her weight loss and telling her how great she looks and everything. And she was telling me, and I said, well, she was at church, and I just told her, go back and ask them if they like what April tells us. Would you be open to looking at what I'm doing? And they all said yes. So yeah, it was a really great night. A lot of new people, a lot of one of my neighbors who mentioned she wanted to get back on the collagen. She came down, and so yeah, it was really great and a
Yeah.
lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and you guys did a great job. But again, it goes back to, you know, everybody, and it's nice when an area gets started because everybody's dripping on the same people and you start to get some momentum going. And that's what I feel like Gigi and Jackie is starting to go because we all kind of, did you ask them? Did I ask them? Who asked them? And like now they have to worry about lines, making sure we don't step on other people's feet and stuff. So, that's the fun stuff. It can be sometimes a little bit challenging to get things going, but again, as soon as you can get a partner, and we did this with the doctors years ago, when you can start leveraging off of other people that are, first maybe using products in your area and then are in business with you, things start to move a little bit faster. And it really was a great meeting. We had people signing up, right on the spot, which is super cool. So we always like that. So
And April, take that. I'm going to show it a little bit, but I know you were talking about plugging people in, and you got people going to meetings and well, locally here, reactivating
yeah,
people. Some
yeah,
of the people that were at Jackie's house are joining us in Orlando on Wednesday
mhm.
night, which for those not familiar, the Orlando meeting's probably 20 minutes from where we live. Okay, it's very close. But you got people going to North Carolina. We have people going to the Maryland meeting. What did you do to kind of
Yeah. So I just make a point of it, and you've heard me say this before, and I make a lot of calls in a day, a lot of calls. I have the time to be able to do that. But I actually wrote out all the different meetings. I keep checking the big blue calendar because I think two more from Indiana have popped up now. So I have this list in front of me, and as I make calls, I'm constantly Googling to see, maybe they live in Palm Coast and I want to see how far the Stewart meeting is, or I want to see how far they are from Orlando, or I want to see how far they are from wherever. Just trying to see. And if we don't ask people, even if it's like a 2 hour, maybe we prejudge 2 hours on a Wednesday night is too far. You got to ask. You got to ask people, and they'll let you know how eager they are to come. And you have to put importance on the meeting itself. So when you invite people, it's not so much that we're selling the opportunity, we're selling the meeting and the people that are going to be at the meeting. And this is a time to meet people that have made a lot of money. If you talked about money or if they've talked about product results. So it's really just doing a lot of reach outs because it never should get to a point where somebody says no. They may ghost you for a little while, and there's some things you can do to get them back in conversation. Mostly just be a friend. I mean, just reach out and connect. Again, holidays are a great time to be able to get conversations going again. Wishing people, happy Mother's Day if that's appropriate. Even for people that, maybe they don't have kids, but they're dog moms, or maybe they've helped with foster kids, or they've got a niece or a nephew, they're actively involved with. Those are all moms that need to be applauded too, because they do a very special job as well. So it's a great way to get conversation started again. And again, just keep inviting them to different events, whether it's in person. We're lucky we have these in person. I think you always get a better result or turnout when people are in person. But if you don't know who's hosting that meeting, ask Bobby and I. I mean, we have, as long as it's here in the United States, we have never had a problem with anybody. Never. I mean, we get into Mexico, it gets maybe a little bit shakier, but here in the States, we we know everybody here, and so what I've done is when people told me that they're going to go to the meeting, I personally called the leader that was hosting the meeting and said, hey, I've got so and so coming to your meeting, and right before the meeting, the day before, I will confirm that they're still going and stuff, and just let them know that someone is coming and to expect them and stuff. And so again, have never had a problem, but these are great meetings. When you look, I wish I could morph myself around the country to be in the room with some of these people, listening to their meeting and stuff, because LifeVantage really has a lot of talent. When you start to look around and, if you were in Vegas and you listen to the people from the stage, a lot of talent there that, like Tyler, you just want to be a fly on the wall just listening to what he's talking about. I take so much away every time he talks. I just, I appreciate how much he does share with us. And that's a lot of the leaders all around the country. So yeah, go down the big blue calendar, make a list, and I just went in date order, wrote the town. So it's really easy for me to see, and just going through all my notes and figuring out who I can plug into what. And just, the more invites you have out there, the more shows you're going to have.
Keep in mind when there's a meeting being put on, like this activation tour, that means somebody else is doing the hard part. I mean, they're hosting, they're presenting, they're getting it set up, they're doing everything. And you and I, we just got to invite and bring. And that's the easy part because someone else is doing the hard part. And the talent, April was just talking about, the talent is going to be in the room. They're going to be impressed. And the best part of it, all that's going to happen, and it don't matter if you're, in Florida inviting for California, or if you're in California inviting for Maryland, all that's going to happen is whatever you've said to that point, everything's going to get validated, and you're going to have so much more credibility with your prospect and the person you're talking to. So take advantage of that. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up. Please be ready to take some notes, but also be ready to get some screenshots. I'm going to go through some different ways to show you um, how to share the money part of things. But I'm going to do it very differently because I'm going to do it in a way where you can do something on short notice without having slides or your phone or anything. It's just some things that you got to know. And April covered a lot of this last week. And I want to give you some examples this week on it, okay? And I'm talking about like today, okay? If you were at church and you were sitting next to a friend and someone said, it's really getting to be a struggle with food shopping, or it's really getting to be a struggle with, the car payment. Like I bought a new car last year and now that payment is kind of strangling me, or I was getting a lot of overtime in the past and I'm not getting it anymore. You got to be able to kind of show quickly how you can help them solve that issue. Give them a way that it can be fixed. And I'm going to talk about that tonight. So be ready, with some screenshots. I'm just going to go through some slides quick with you and then I'll get into that. So obviously I mentioned, every Monday at 4, always, okay, power hour. Okay. And I got to tell you, everyone's different. Nothing is planned in advance. What I love what April and Dee do is they're addressing what needs to be addressed during that hour for people on how to do what they want to do. Okay. So they know that if they get on for that hour, not only are they going to be reaching out to people, but they're going to learn different ways to reach out to people and how to do it. So it's a power hour for connecting, but it's also live training in person at the same time. So I highly recommend you do it if you can get on. I know it's 4 o'clock, and if you have a job, you probably can't, but anytime you can, it'd be well worth it. As you know, it's only $179 to register for Global. That's through the end of June. So that's like a 30 or 40% discount off the regular price. Okay, what I wanted in April covered this already, but these meetings are coming up this week, and there could be more on there because they're adding now. Like I didn't know Indiana until April just said that, and I have people that I'm thinking of in Indiana, and I know Kenneth just signed up consultants in Indiana. So, and I didn't know about that, so I'm going to add to it. But Bethesda, Maryland, if you're not familiar, that's near Silver Springs. That's not that far from DC. It's a hub, okay, but they're actually going to be in a place called Gaithersburg, I think it's called, maybe 20 minutes away. Florida now, where it was Champions Gate, it's Orlando now, just outside on the east side called Altamont Springs. It's not far from where we live. Huntersville in North Carolina, I know April's got guests there. The meeting in New York, Queens is part of New York City. Okay, so that's part of New York City. It's the first part of the city on Long Island as you go into the city. Okay, so King of Prussia, I mentioned, that's the Philadelphia area. It's suburb of Philadelphia. Okay, so those and there's others on there. So don't miss a chance to get somebody into those meetings. I'm telling you, they're doing all the work. You just got to plug them in. So we're excited about Wednesday. We're going to be at the Orlando meeting. April already had some people scheduled to go there, but now from Friday night with what Jackie and Gigi did, others are going to be there. So it was a kind of like a 1-2 punch. Friday night at Jackie's, and now it's Wednesday at the hotel in Altamont Springs, which I said is a suburb of Orlando. So very, very exciting time. I showed you this last time, but this is what the big blue calendar looks like. Start clicking up here and going into June too, because they're going to start posting June if they didn't already do that. But what I said before, April did a great job covering the different types of people and prospects and how to talk to them last week in her training. And tonight, what I want to do is just show you some simple ways, and this is the key word, to verbalize the money. In other words, how to say it in a conversation without a presentation. Okay, how to have the conversation with a person about money without your phone, without your slides, without Zoom, without YouTube, without any of that. Somebody that maybe you meet, like for me or April, playing tennis or pickleball. Somebody that you happen to get into a couple-minute conversation with at church before or after. Somebody that you meet in a supermarket or shopping. Somebody you meet while you're getting your car serviced. I mean, something that you can verbalize, okay, when the opportunity presents itself. When somebody says something and you hear it, okay, and what I want you to do is to be able to offer, and you've heard this term, April said a million times, would you be open? When somebody says that, if you can give a quick example of how that could be addressed, it's setting you up for the next step. They're not going to buy from you or sign from you when you're just meeting them on the run, so to speak, but it's setting you up, okay, for that next step, which could be a three-way call, could be a three-way chat or Zoom, okay? The other night, and I got to compliment Catalina, and she knows she can do this anytime. I think it was, I don't know, was it last night? I guess it might have been, yeah, it was last night. We're just chilling out, we're watching a movie or something, and she texts, and she had just signed up a new consultant and said, can one of you hop on a Zoom and introduce yourselves and stuff? And this is Saturday night on no notice, but she knows we'll do that if we can do that, and April did. Okay. And, you know, these things, and again, what I'm going to go through in a minute with you is how to be ready on short notice, and don't let those opportunities just fall by the wayside, because some of the best things that have ever happened in this business have happened that way for us. Okay, so let me go into that a little bit. Okay, now this is a screenshot, okay, and these numbers are right to the penny. Okay, so this is what you earn, okay, when you sell collagen. Okay, this is what's earned when a customer gets it, but I don't want you knowing all these numbers. Okay, so you can screenshot this. This will validate and verify. What I want you to know is when somebody buys collagen and collagen gets reordered, down here you earn between $23 and $40. Okay, that's what I want you to know. That's the number, and we can round these numbers off. We can say between 20 and 40, so the math works and the examples are simple. Okay, that is the number. And when somebody says something to you like gas is expensive, the car is expensive, insurance expensive, food's expensive, you can quickly give an example of how they can fill up their car by working this business spare time or part time. Okay, how they can pay for the groceries, how they can pay for the rent. So even though these numbers are all right to the penny and real, and you will earn that, okay, this is what you say when you get a verbal opportunity to share something with someone. Okay, now these are the updated prices. I know the slide looks similar on GLP-1. Okay, and these are, and the new pricing, the retail's 159, subscriptions are 143, and you and I pay 127. Okay, and the core and the powder, the mind and the body, the two different products are available for everybody to buy separately. They're available to be put on subscription now. You can buy them separate or order them together. Okay. And if somebody's using one container of the powder and needs two bottles of the core to last it, whatever way it goes, April and I just seem to go through a canister of powder as we go through the core. I think we both use 4 scoops and we use it. But these are the numbers, okay? Obviously, the 20.99, 25.99, 30.99, 35.99, those are real. Those are accurate. They're to the penny. But the 16 to 36 is what you need to know. Okay? It's kind of like, did you know we, and don't use we, use I, don't use, always use we, not I. We can earn between 16 and $36. Now, if you take that with the 23 and $40 a slide before, and I'll cover this in a second. It's really easy to just ballpark it. And folks, there's nothing wrong with ballparking it. If you're having a verbal conversation with somebody and you want to use, say, between 20 and $40, you're ballparking. There's nothing wrong with that. You're doing that for math purposes, for ease of understanding, for simplicity. Okay, so I would go with the 20 to 40. Okay, and divide by 20 or multiply by 20 and 40. Anybody can do the math on that one. You don't have to understand the comp plan. Now, April mentioned Diamond last week, and she was talking about the 1200. Okay, so this is a real simple example, very simple. If you're having more of a business conversation with a person than a product conversation with a person, but I am talking money tonight, okay? So obviously, when you get customers and you build yourself to diamond and have those 4,000 points, you're going to make at least 30%. That's where the $1,200 comes from. 30% of 4,000. 3 times 4 is 12. That's where the 1,200 comes from. Now, I love this example in particular because it's believable. People could see this. That's why it's you and two. And then, so that's how you make 1,200. But from this group here, from your 4,000 points. Isn't it reasonable to think that you could find two or three satisfied customers, happy collagen customers, happy Protandim customers, happy GLP-1, that they would want to join you in business and make 1,200 bucks too? See, to me, there's no simpler example in the world on how to earn money in this business. Well, if you're making 1,200 and they join you and do the same thing, they're making 1,200. But guess what? You're making 10% on their 4,000. So that's 400 each. It's another 800 bucks for you. Now it's 2,000 a month, 24,000 a year. I'm telling you, most Uber, most Lyft, most waitresses, most bartenders don't make that. They're doing it part-time and they don't make that. Okay, the full-timers make more than that, but the ones doing it on the side generally don't. And we're talking about a business with you and two. Do you see the simplicity of it? That's why I said take a screenshot, but get it in your head, worded in a way that if something comes up on short notice, you can put it into words for the person. Okay. And I'm only going to do one more example. Okay. Obviously, if you look at our compensation plan, we get paid on 9 levels. I'm just showing a second level. And why am I doing that? Because if you're two people, okay, that you earn 10% on, if they each got two of their own, guess what? Their 1,200 just turned into 2,000. But on the four people they brought in, you're earning 7% on each of those 4,000s. So it's $280 each times four is 1,120. Now we're at over $3,100. We're getting close to 40,000 a year. Don't you think there's a market for people between 1,200 a month and 3,100 a month? Don't you think most people would be interested in having that income on top of whatever they already have? You don't need slides for this, folks, or if you want to just have the one like's on the screen now, this is what I want you to practice verbalizing, okay? When somebody mentions something is challenging. And then here's the thing. We have 7.5 weeks left. The timing is perfect to getting people started now to earn double, okay, on consultants. The examples I was just giving you, okay, were on getting customers and then getting two consultants. That's your two. You build your business with customers and then turn two of those customers into consultants. That's all that example was. And now we're in a position where we can earn double the commissions on consultant sales. Instead of 10%, it's 20 for the next almost 2 months, okay? 7.5 weeks. Isn't that simple? Tell me you couldn't, everybody on this Zoom, everybody that tunes in every Sunday night, can't you do this on short to no notice? You know, most of the opportunities that we get, and obviously there's the rank advancement bonuses, but for the conversations that I'm talking about, that's not even part of the deal right now because they're not in. Okay, that's part of the deal for the people that are in. So here's what I wanted to show you. Rounding off the numbers is okay. Be able to ballpark examples. What were the actual numbers? 16, 23, 36, and 40. Those were the actual numbers. I would never use those numbers, ever. I'd use 20 to 40. So the math is easy, and whatever it is they told you, whatever they said, you could multiply or divide 20 or 40 into it to make a very simple answer to their dilemma. Does that make sense? I mean, do you have to go through all the wild and crazy stuff in the complex? No, you don't. But you need to get people that you come up against on short to no notice. You got to get them to picture something that sets you up. And let me stop sharing this because I believe that's my last slide. Okay. Okay. So the point that I'm making is this, your job on a short notice meeting is to set up the next appointment. Okay. And if you can get them to see something, visualize something, think about something in that short conversation you had with them, they're going to be much more open to what? Watching a video if you send it to them, getting on a three-way call with your partner or associate or upline. Okay, get on a three-way chat, get their questions answered. You've set the stage for that next thing to happen. But what do we tend to do? We tend, when we meet someone, to try and sell them on a three-way call or watching a video, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, depending on the conversation that has taken place. And that's where the would you be open comes into play, depending on what it is. All I'm saying is a lot of times with that, would you be open? There is an opportunity for you to share something with them on the spot when you're in front of them. Right then and there, that could really help pique their attention and make it easier for them to watch that video or do some sort of three-way call or Zoom. Does that make sense? Okay, so I hope you took screenshots on that, but I want you to just get familiar with 20 and 40. I just want you to get familiar with you making 1,200, and if you get two people and show them how to do it, it's 2,000, 24,000 a year. Okay, just get familiar with that and use it as part of the answer. Okay, and if you run into a bigger fish, that $3,700 example, that's almost 40,000. If you get into a bigger fish, you can say, can't you just envision seeing that happen in every big city in America? Now you can multiply 40,000 times 5 cities, 10 cities, 20 cities. See, so using that small example, you can multiply it up to get as big as you want to get it, depending on the fish you're talking to. So anyway, I hope that helps. It's kind of been on my mind for a little bit. I wanted to share that. Any
Yeah.
questions, any comments?
Yeah, Dee has a
April?
question. She wants some kind of role playing. So Dee, do you want to explain a little bit more what you want or?
Unmute, D.
It'd be really cool, like for you or April to just take one of us and just have a conversation, but hear how you actually just put it into words as a role play. You know what I mean?
So why
Like
don't we
maybe
plan on
do,
doing that next week?
okay, that'd be fun.
That'll be next week's training. April, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, and Dee, to answer your question, I pulled some stuff for tomorrow's Facebook, for the power hour that we do, what some other groups say. So I'm going to share that.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it's always good, different styles.
Mhm.
I'm kind of very much an introvert, so it's
Yeah.
few words, but I get what I want.
But like this is awesome, and I like what Bobby's saying, but it's like sometimes it's like, okay, let's just take somebody that you ran into, maybe me, and you
Yep.
strike up the conversation, and then if I just say, yeah, gas prices, whatever,
Yeah,
and then just hear how you roll into it, because I think that's the part that is like I get it,
yeah.
but it's like how do you continue on, and then oh well, would you like a bit whatever.
Yeah, so gas price would be real easy. I would just say if you could do something about that, would you? And then they'll say, yeah.
See,
Yeah.
that's where
Then
that
I'm like, let me
that's
show you.
that's D, that is probably the second best thing you could
Yeah,
say other than would you be open?
yeah,
Um, you know,
But when
it,
you're talking about the money, I'm talking about like that's great. But when you're like the conversation when you're striking up the money, you know what I mean?
yep,
Like, how do you
yep.
strike that up? How do you talk about that?
So if they say gas price, I would ask, would you do something about that? They would say yes. I'd say great. So I usually I go right back to the 30-minute overview because they're interested in business. I'm going to show you a little bit about, what we're involved with. Real excited. Got there 8 years ago. It was mind blowing. You got to watch this. But then the last 15 minutes, my husband talks about how we go about earning money. When can you watch it? You'll tell me Tuesday. Great. If I give you a call on Wednesday, will you have watched it? Yes. And then I will follow up on Wednesday. And then, I'll ask questions like, what did you see? What did you like best? How much money do you want to earn? And then I'll know what kind of figures I need to, if I need to take zeros away or add zeros. And
So that's when you're bringing in the money. That's when you're
Yes.
bringing in, oh, you earn $20 to $40 when you sell collagen.
Yeah, and I like to start with an amount. Like, if I get a feeling that, they're looking for a couple thousand a month or a couple hundred, or I'll try to get a feel on what they're looking for and then show them something close. But I'll also have written out, before I make these calls, I usually have some scenarios on which way this call could go. So I may have written out several figures on earnings if I really didn't know the person. I'll have an idea for a backup of if we need more product information. I'll know exactly what I'm sending there. And I also know when we're going to do our next follow-up call. I'm planning that, or an event. If there's an event coming up or whatever, like to Jackie's a lot, the Friday night didn't work. We went into a lot of graduations and things like that. But right away, I could quickly invite them to Wednesday night. So it's just, timing for people. May was a busy month for graduations and different people traveling for Mother's Day and stuff. So that's why she did such an amazing job to get so many
And they
people.
still had a dozen guests there, even with all that.
Yes. So it was amazing. But again, it's always a process. And then when I talk to people, there's people on the list that are coming Wednesday, and there's still some maybes. I've put it out there. We've had a conversation. I've put it out there. We've had another conversation. I've put it out there again. We had another conversation. And I just spoke to a girl wishing her happy Mother's Day. And she let me know she's not playing tennis all next week because she just got done with a tournament. I'm like, great. Then you can come Wednesday night. And she's like, I got to check my calendar. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to call you tomorrow to make sure you checked your calendar. So I always have a next, like when I'm going to get back to somebody. Okay. I'm always planning next. So until she says, Wednesday night's just not going to work. But she's already kind of put her foot in her mouth by saying she wasn't doing anything this week.
Yeah.
She played so much tennis.
Well, and Dee, what one of, the examples, especially what I talked about tonight, applies to somebody that said something that triggered your mind into thinking they could use what we got. It's not a cold approach to somebody that hasn't said something, and it's generally a scenario where it's kind of a quick conversation. And it could be at the food store where someone said, I can't believe what that stuff costs now, when they're checking out at the register or something. But normally somebody has said something that left the door open.
Yeah.
Where, you could use the "Are you open?" or you could use if I had an answer for that or a way to handle that, would you be open to seeing more? But I can't, it just comes up all the time.
But it makes sense now on where you're putting the money in.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I didn't know.
Well, and the other thing, and I'm not stereotyping, especially on Mother's Day, but it seems a more natural conversation with money first happens with men talking to men. And it seems to be women talking to women. It seems like the product results and testimonies tend to come up first. Okay. So, and again, that's a little bit of a stereotype, but it just seems to be the experience. So, I keep that in mind also. But they have said something that allowed me to say something else. Okay.
Well, exactly. I was just trying to get like where you're putting the $20 to $40 in, or the 1,200 a month. Like that's where I was not understanding that lineage.
I got
right?
it.
Like,
yep.
So I get it now. That's awesome. Thank you.
And the biggest benefit to that is for everybody on the call to understand it in their own head.
Yeah.
See, there's a comfort level that comes with having conversations when they come up on short notice. If it's really clear in your head where somebody says something and it's almost like a reflex where you almost can't not say it. It's like because you're so comfortable with the reality of it. So a big part of what I was talking about tonight, I just want everyone to understand those are real and get used to those scenarios in your head, and it'll come easier, you know. You know it is, and I know you relate to sports because you played at the highest levels. Once you've practiced enough, isn't it kind of automatic when it comes time to do it? Just
Well, I'm always perfect practice makes perfect
right,
execution.
right.
So I'm a little anal that way. Like I just need like
Yeah.
exactly how to perfectly practice this to
And the
execute
practice for us
it.
comes in our own heads
Yeah.
and then talking to others. But you got to get it straight in your own head first. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying everybody.
Yeah.
It's like if you can picture it and visualize it in your head, you're going to have a really easy time making a clear point to a person you're talking to. Like I
That's
know
why
when Catalina is dealing with a new consultant, and it could even be a new customer, I know she automatically thinks, can I get him with Bob or April on the phone or on a Zoom? It's she's so comfortable with it in her head that she don't care if it's 9 or 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. She could care less. It's not important, and it isn't important. She thinks of it automatically, and then she does it. All right, but she's comfortable enough to do it because she knows if we can't do it, we'll do it another time. So, number one, she knows it's okay to do. But number two, there would be another time if it didn't happen that time. Okay, there would still be a next time. So, but yeah, think about this, folks. And it sounds like April's got some things that she'll go over during Power Hour tomorrow if you can join that. But as soon as you can get it clear in your head, the clarity comes out in your mouth and your words. But if you're not seeing a clear picture in your own head, your words are not coming out properly. Okay. And the big thing is, are the words coming from the heart? That's the most important thing in this business. You can almost say it in the dumbest way possible, but if it's sincere and from your heart, it don't matter because they know you're speaking from your heart and they trust that. So, anyway, food for thought for you, some ideas, some ways to do it. And anyone else?
Bob, I wanted, this is the kind of thing I needed because
Good,
I have a problem talking about money with people, especially older people. It becomes more difficult. But I do meet a lot of younger people with whom I can start talking just with the money,
good,
not about the products. So that would help me. This is the kind that would help me a
good.
lot.
Well, and we'll do a role playing thing next week and with no practice. Okay. You hit us with whatever it is that you want to hit us with, and we'll go back and oh, you can pick who you want to answer. It'd be me or April, and you can pick. So anyway, we good? Happy Mother's Day, moms. We love you. You guys are awesome.